Okay, I hit record, so we're recording now. So do you want to blow the shofar, honey? Are you going to do that today?
Yeah, I should try to do that.
We're missing half our crew, but that's okay. It'll be nice and quiet today. We love you guys.
Sherry says, I feel like something's missing not being with you guys.
No. We miss her too. Tell her we miss her. Sherry, you're going to listen to this. We miss you, Sherry. And Marissa and Kevin and the babies and the girls. We don't miss the loudness, but we miss them.
Hey. Ready?
Yeah, dear.
Ready?
Hallelujah. Amen. We need to keep Karen in our prayers because she's hurting pretty bad. So, are you doing better right now?
Stay still.
Don't move.
Yeah.
You gonna pray for her?
Yeah.
Go for it. We're gonna pray for
Yeah,
Karen
pray.
real quick.
Lift you up. Stay your day of rest and to acknowledge you and thank you for allowing us to gather together in your name. Speak forth to this body. Have peace and strength where she needs it, and just the alignment. As we are aligned in you, so our body should be aligned. Let your spirit dwell.
Father, I thank you for delivering Karen from internal conflict in her soul, putting deep shalom inside. I thank you for breaking the bitterness and unforgiveness anywhere that could be inside her cells. The refusal to move in order, the chaos inside her cells, inside her joints, inside her bones. I pray in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach that you would bring order into her whole entire being. Every piece of her body needs to come into order now. In Yahusha HaMashiach, we command it into order. We command it. All chaos go. The damage from the cancer, from the radiation, and all the medication for years that she's been on, I command it to be undone, and healing to begin to flow into this body. I ask that you would unblock that which is blocking her. And I thank you and praise you, Abba. And I ask that you would help her to let her yes be yes and her no be no, and her internal no be her outside no, and her internal yes be her outside yes. Abba, give her the courage to say no when she needs to say no, and to not be putting herself in danger just to please another person. Abba, help her to know when it is you calling her to do something and when it is not. And I thank you and praise you for Karen. Bless her, Abba. Bless her. And Abba, I thank you and praise you for Kevin and Marissa and their family. And they're not here right now. And I just praise you for them. I ask that you would bless their Shabbat. The same with Sherry. And I ask that you would be a light to her at the funeral she's at, that she would shine your kingdom all around her. And I pray a blessing over her family right now. And I ask that you would touch Nancy and bring healing to her body as well. I praise you for bringing her legs, the swelling off of her legs, and making her body work in order. I thank you for what you're doing in her life. Bless her for opening her home so that we can do this every week.
Yeah.
And bless everybody that listens to this, and Carol and her husband. I thank you for them. Bless them, Abba. Pour out your Ruach upon them as they learn and they grow, and they walk in your fullness of true shalom. I praise you. Praise you for what you're doing in our lives.
Lord,
In Yahusha HaMashiach.
to all the glory to God.
Amen.
In Jesus' name, thank you, thank you.
Okay, so we are still in chapter 13, and we're going to do a little bit of a review. How many understand what the beast is now?
Well, I understand there's two beasts.
There's two beasts.
There's two beasts, Nero,
Well,
the older Nero, and
okay, so the first beast,
they're
I
really-
strongly believe this, even after listening to other people that have different views, that the first beast is actually Rome.
Yeah.
The what did I call it? The
Seven heads of Rome.
Julian dynasty.
I didn't write that.
The Julian, I put it in our, I
Nero.
texted it.
Oh, I don't remember
Put
you
it in the
saying
message.
that, but
I
Nero wanted to rebuild the city and call it Neropolis.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't say that. Did you
No,
learn that?
no, you didn't say that.
Wow.
Gore said that.
Oh, okay.
He, you know, when
Thank you.
a third of Rome burnt down,
Yeah,
and Nero
he was away.
And as soon as he got word, he came rushing back to help the people and give them food and shelter and blah, blah, blah. Well, then within 2 days, he came and brought out these elaborate plans that would have taken months and months to draw, how he was going to rebuild that part of the city.
Oh, yeah. Well, and he blamed the Christians.
Yeah, he
For
did,
burning
but
it, throw 'em
everybody
down.
realized that some people suspected, according to this guy, that when he brought those plans out, everybody knew that he was behind the fire.
Yeah. And you know, I was researching too this week the Roman Empire, and how after Nero they had several emperors, but they only lasted like a few months,
Right.
Yeah.
even a year, until what was the name? The name of the guy that I
Gal-
didn't tell you guys.
Galba?
It's not on our notes.
Okay. Tiberius Caesar?
No. It's after those guys.
Oh.
Who you guys remember who Nero sent out to war against the Jews?
Let's see, Augustus appointed Herod, but
It's not in our notes. It's not in our notes
okay.
at all.
Okay.
I didn't write it down. But anyway, until this guy, I can't remember, it's Titus's dad. You guys remember Titus's dad?
Yeah,
I forget his name.
I heard that not very recently.
But he became the next stable in 69, because Sherry was asking me who was the emperor in 70, and it was actually that guy, and I can't remember his name. I should have wrote it down. But anyway, you
I don't
guys can
have it
research that. And he was emperor for 10 years.
That
But
guy
it
said
was
who it
very
was, and I can't
unstable.
remember.
I mean, after Nero, he committed suicide in, I believe it was 68. Did I say it was 68?
60.
After him, it was so unstable, the whole Roman Empire. 69, it was even worse. They couldn't keep anyone in. They kept killing whoever it was because they did not want a one world government.
I'm
what?
sorry. This Gore said June 9th of 58. That was from 54 AD to 58, and then he committed suicide.
It's
58,
68. It's
is
not
it 68?
58.
Oh, 68, yeah. You said 68. I wrote something
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, they made him commit
Yeah.
suicide.
Yeah. So the reason why I really strongly believe that Rome is the first beast is because of the 7 heads and the seven heads and the 7 horns and the 10 diadems, which is Rome was divided up into 10
kingdoms.
sub-kingdoms. And then the emperor appointed the kings over them, and like Judea was Herod was the king that was appointed of the Jews. Yes. And I don't know, I didn't follow who's after him.
Actually what you said about Rome is very, according to what the notes here is and what he says, Rome is all about politics.
Yeah. Well, they also had a political arm, you would say, that served religion.
Yeah.
And they legalized Judaism as a religion.
Okay. Because one of the wives was studying Judaism.
Yeah, that's part of it. But Rome was always in bed with the Jews.
Okay.
You got to understand that.
Yeah.
The Jews, even when Julius Caesar was in, there was always a kind of a relationship between Rome and Judaism. And I think that's why the harlot is seen riding the beast. The beast being Rome, the harlot is Jerusalem or the Jews. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the next beast, which we're going to talk about, starting in verse 13.
14 or 13?
Chapter 13, verse 11, sorry.
Oh.
Chapter 13, verse 11. And then we talk about the second beast. Honey, why don't you read that? Starting in verse 11.
I didn't bring my glasses. Oh, 11.
You want to use my big Bible? It's got big print. Huh?
No, it's okay.
It's got good eyes.
Then I saw another beast coming up from out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. And he exercises all the authority of the first beast in no, I don't know. I didn't understand that how it said. Says that, okay, and so he exercises of the first beast, all the authority of the first beast in his presence, and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. He performs great signs, so that he even makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast who was wounded by the sword and lived, and he was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on the right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666.
Okay. So, well, we kind of went over this last week a little bit, but we didn't really get to study out who the second beast was. So we're all under the understanding that there are two beasts, right? There are two beasts. The first beast being Rome, with the horns being each emperor, starting with Julius Caesar, and it was the Julian dynasty. And after Galba was the last Caesar of that dynasty, then it goes into another dynasty. So just like the wild beast, the first wild beast, the second wild beast isn't one person. This is, I think, where we've gotten messed up. People think that that is the Antichrist and it's one person. But it's not one person. It is it's the religious system. And we see from verse 11, it says, and I saw another wild beast ascending from out of the earth. And all along we've been seeing that the earth is also land.
Yeah.
And the first beast came from out of the sea. The first beast in the sea represents the Gentiles.
Right.
The land represents Judah, or
So
Judea.
This was out of the land.
Out of the land of Judea. So it was Jewish. And it wasn't just a person, it was a system.
Yeah.
It was the
Religious
Jewish
system.
religious system. And they were in cahoots with Rome. And we need to really see that. And it was the Jews, the Jews that were in charge of the temple. I found out this week that they sacrificed twice a day to the Emperor of Rome in the temple, as well as to Yahuwah. So you can see this mass mixing of the worship of the emperor, as well as worshiping Yahuwah in the middle of that, which he does not take kindly to. So now we know that the second beast has to come out of Judah, and he's like a lamb, but spoke as a dragon. So the religious system is appealing, and we think that we're supposed to follow the religious system, right? The religious system is like a lamb. It's special and soft and sweet, and you're supposed to be able to trust it, right?
How come it comes out of Judah?
because it comes out of the land of Israel, where it says earth, land,
That's
the
Jerusalem.
land, yeah, the land of it's the land. It's all of Israel. All of Israel is considered the land.
Right.
It's the land of
But,
Judea.
but it's,
Not
but
necessarily
it's-
just Jerusalem.
so
It's a Jew.
so Judah was the only tribe there.
Yes.
Okay, I got
Yes.
it. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Or they called them the Jews. It didn't matter what tribe you were from at that point in time. Sorry, that was my wording. But we knew the land was the land of Israel. Okay. So it came from within this beast. But this beast was like a lamb and spoke as a dragon. And now that takes us back to chapter 12, who the dragon was. The dragon was Satan, right?
Right.
And what was the synagogue called? The synagogue of Satan.
Yeah.
And who built the temple? Rebuilt the temple? Herod, who was a Roman king, and they declared him king of the Jews. They rejected Yahusha for the king of the Jews, which was Herod.
Wow.
Okay, so, and I have scripture for that, if I can
Wow.
go back and find it
Yeah.
in all my notes.
Herod. Oh,
John
yeah.
19,
Yeah.
15 to 22. Let's read that real
John
quick.
19, 15 to 22.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can somebody find that?
John. Yeah. Wait a minute. John 19.
John 19, 15 to 22.
Oh, John. That's not first
I got it. Okay.
You have it already?
Well, I'm one page up. Okay.
Okay, you can read it. John
22.
19, 15 to 22.
You sure you don't want me to start at 18?
Start 15.
Oh, 15?
Yeah.
Okay. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know.
Are you in John 19?
I'm in John 15.
19. What was the verse?
15 to 22.
I got the 15
I
part.
need to get the signs.
Okay, now I'm in 19.
Okay.
15, 19. Okay, but they shouted, take him away, crucify him. Shall I crucify your king? Pilate said. We have no king but Caesar, the chief priest answered. Finally, Pilate handed him over to them to be crucified.
Okay, so they say, we have no king but
Right.
Caesar.
Yeah.
So, and Yahusha was crucified as the king of the Jews, and they wanted that taken down.
Right.
They rejected him, and they would embrace the Roman king, the Roman emperor, so they embraced the Roman government over the theocracy of Yahusha.
The truth.
Yeah. So we see the tie-in of the two beasts. And Satan, if we go back to chapter 12, we see that the dragon also looks just like the beast. And he's got the dragon has 7 horns as well. Where is it? Does it say that? I know it says it in here.
7 horns. Yeah.
Yeah, he has 7 horns.
The dragon, big dragon.
Maybe it's
having 7. Okay. 12:3.
12:3.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Okay, so he has 7 heads and 10 horns. The other one.
His heads were set on his heads were 7 diamonds.
Okay, so he had 7 heads and 10 horns, right? And then you go over to chapter 13. The big wild beast has 7 heads and 10 horns as well. So the beast and Satan are equivalent. You guys see that? And yeah, because he's showing us a picture.
They're
a
not
word
the
picture.
same. They're just equivalent.
They're the same. They are this. Well, Well, he's showing a word picture. The dragon, okay, and even if you go back into chapter 12, the dragon tries to destroy the baby,
Yeah.
the son that she bore.
Right.
Who did that? Who did that when it really happened?
He was delivered up to God.
When Jesus was born, who killed all the babies?
Herod.
Herod.
Yeah.
And who did Herod work for?
Rome.
Rome.
Yeah.
And then who killed John the Baptist?
Herod.
Yeah. And who rebuilt the temple? Herod. Okay, so now we're getting it. And so he is he is making Herod and Rome equivalent to Satan. And the synagogue of Satan, and he even Yahusha called the priests and stuff serpents.
Yeah.
He called them serpents.
Right.
That they're like demons or devils or whatever. So we see this word picture being used. Not that Rome was actually the devil, but that it was a word picture.
When Jesus was alive, were they doing the 2 sacrifices a day?
I have a
Herod
feeling they were.
Yeah. So then he knew.
It says
he
in here
knew.
somewhere, either in John.
He told them that their house was left desolate. That
Yeah, I remember that.
Yahuwah was not even in the house.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I got
Mm.
First John or Second Thessalonians. Well, I don't know what verses.
But because we have such a romantic view of Jews, they put out there for us to like think of Jews as so special and loving and good, and they're God's people.
And along the same lines, read the book, The 13th Tribe. You will learn all about the Khazarian Jews and how rotten, nasty, they were worse than anybody.
So what I'm seeing is,
Are you okay?
Oh yeah.
so back
You gotta
then, the people that were in charge of the temple were not Yahuwah's people. Okay, they did that sacrifice clear up until 66 AD, and there was such conflict. We have Christianity growing, and we have them preaching and saying, no, we don't honor Rome, we don't honor, we're not going to do the temple sacrifices anymore, we're not doing this. And there's this contention, okay, and this contention building, and then there's a division that begins to happen. There's people that say we are for Rome, and then there's one saying no, and then
There's the zealots.
and they
too.
begin, and then it also divides into 3 systems there, but at that one point there was 2, and they said we're not doing the sacrifices to Caesar anymore, and then the other ones that say yes we are. So you got this contention happening back and forth, and that is part of the reason why Nero declared war on the Jews. Okay, there was a refusal to worship him in the temple,
I see.
and he declared war on the Jews. And there's the Roman Jews, or whatever you call them, that were like, no, we're going to continue doing this. And there's the zealots, and back and forth. But we see.
So one of those 3 groups, and burned all the food because they were cut up.
Yeah, well, that was the zealots. Yeah.
That was a misnomer.
Yeah. So now you see this whole contention. And in both beasts, Rome and the whatever you want to call them, the apostate Jews. I'll just call them apostate Jews. They were both killing believers. They were murdering believers from the beginning. Stephen, for one, was the beginning. He was the first martyr. So Christianity was an enemy to both Rome and the Jews. Okay, So we see that.
That's what the way they look at it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so now we see the two beasts in cahoots with one another
Uh-huh.
and run by Satan. So we got that. You guys all,
I think so.
Carol and for some reason I lost your husband's name.
John.
John. Are you guys getting this? Does
Yes.
that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And it also, I mean, the dots are starting to connect.
Okay.
You know?
Good. Because I don't want to move past this until we really know, till everybody's solid and who these two beasts are. And yeah, and we see that the wild beast, okay, the second beast, he was performing signs and miracles, okay? And if you read all through Acts, there were false prophets,
Right.
Jewish false prophets and sorcerers that
Right.
were doing fake signs and wonders.
That was their living.
Yeah, okay, so we can see that now in the future, as we read through Revelation, we're going to run into the false prophet. He is also, the false prophet is the second beast. And the second beast,
Yeah.
and the false prophet and the harlot, they're all the same.
The same.
Okay, the harlot is specifically Jerusalem, but Jerusalem represents this apostate Judaism. Does that make sense? Does it make sense to you guys, Carol?
So they're the same. That's the same person. So I wish they wouldn't do that.
Well, see what's happening is
They
we
use-
gotta realize that the book of Revelation
Uh-huh.
is not a whole bunch of prophecies. It's
Right.
one prophecy.
It's regarding one subject.
It's
anyway.
one prophecy regarding one thing, one incident.
Okay, time frame.
And that's the 3.5 years, the fall of Jerusalem.
Yeah.
The entire book of Revelation, that's what it's about. And he's telling it in multiple different ways.
So it is in code
It's in code.
so that,
Yeah. So if a Roman soldier picked up the book of Revelation at that time, when he opened the book, he would not get a hint, and he'd say, "This is Jewish garbage,and here, hand it over."
Not again.
Not again. Yeah. So and just say whatever. But if John wrote it straight in plain English or plain
Yeah.
Greek,
he did.
anyone that had a copy of this would be killed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You gotta understand that. He had to put the warning out in such a way that they could hear it. And yes, Yahuwah, it was a prophecy, and the spirit of Yah was behind it. But John wrote it in code so that everybody would be guarded and protected. That's why he didn't say, "Oh, Nero." He said, "No, there was 7 kings."
Mhm.
7 kings, 5 have fallen, 1 now is, and 1 is yet to come for a little while.
Yeah.
And so he didn't go, "Okay, now everybody we're under Nero right now."
That
This
was
is
that the little time was Galba.
Galba. And he was like 6 or 7 months. So
a little time.
yeah. Oh, and there was something else I learned this week. We got to go back to chapter 17. It talks about the beast as well. So we see chapter 17, the great harlot, she's riding on the beast. And let's see, in verse 8, it says, the wild beast which you saw was and is not and is about to ascend from out of the abyss.
Where are you reading?
17:8.
8. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Marissa had a question about chapter 20, about the devil, about Satan and where he was, because chapter 20 talks about the devil and him going into the abyss for 1,000 years and then coming out of the abyss. Okay, so now we have related in chapter 12 the beast to the dragon, which was devil, right? Chapter 12,
Yeah,
the beast and the dragon are the same.
right.
And he's equating the beast and the dragon to Satan. So here we go from chapter 17, verse 8. The wild beast which you saw was and is not. So let's say he was,
Right.
and then he went into the abyss for 1,000 years, or for a fullness of time, the fullness of time. And now he's about to ascend out of the abyss. Okay? You guys get where I'm going with this?
And what verse are you on?
I'm in 17:8.
And to go away into destruction.
And yeah, and then he would have a little while and he would go into destruction. He would be destroyed. So I believe John is specifically talking about the Roman rule over Jerusalem, over Israel, and Jerusalem, and the Old Covenant, the temple
Okay.
system. Okay,
Okay.
and he is saying that's all being ruled by Satan. Okay, and Satan is about to come out of the abyss, and he is about to be destroyed. And he's talking about the same 3.5 period all the way through this. The 3.5 years.
Yeah.
All the way through this. So I'm thinking the little while, and we've seen that in chapter 12, the dragon had a little while, and he was after God's people. The beast was allowed 42 months to go after God's people. And then here he is coming out of the abyss. The little while he had left is the 3.5 year period that Rome is being attacking. There's infighting, and Jerusalem is destroyed. The very temple that the Romans rebuilt, and Titus did not want that temple destroyed. He specifically told those warriors to preserve the temple, and it got destroyed anyway. All of the people, they kept getting, there was 3 walls, the outer wall, and then there was inner wall, and then there was a wall around the temple, and the people kept going getting smaller and smaller into the walls, and eventually they all went into the temple. They crowded in there, and the soldiers just lit fire to that temple. So
Oh wow. Wow.
so what's your thinking, Nancy?
Oh, I was kind of reading a little bit ahead, and this Gore that I was listening to yesterday explained what the 7 mountains were, and he had a good description of all that whole situation.
Yeah, did he think that the 7 heads and stuff were the 7 king or the 7 emperors too?
Actually, this part, if I heard him right, this is about the 7. Where is it?
Chapter 9, verse 9.
I don't know where the
let's read it.
7 heads, 7 mountains. They actually are
The
7
7
mountains
mountains?
in this verse,
Yeah.
where the woman sits upon them, which is Babylon or Rome,
But
right?
it says the 7 heads are 7 mountains where the woman sits upon them, and there are 7 kings. The 5 fallen, one now is, and the other is not yet come. So what did he say it was?
Whenever he said that 7 mountains represented there's 7 mountains in Jerusalem, where Jerusalem
Oh.
is. That's
Oh, okay.
the land.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And I'm reading that the same way
So
as what you're saying.
I'm thinking that the 7 mountains are figurative to 7 kingdoms,
That's, well,
to 7 reigns.
Well,
Um,
he did say they were mountains.
Yeah.
I mean, there's literal mountains
Well,
in
there may
Jerusalem.
be, yeah.
Seven.
because we know the 7 heads, there weren't literally 7 heads, and there wasn't literally a dragon-looking beast.
Yeah.
So all of this was very figurative language.
The reason I said that is because he made the statement that he and his wife visited that part of the
Oh.
country
Okay.
a long time ago.
Okay. So, but there's something interesting here, and that says in like 1710, says, okay, there are 7 kings, the 5 have fallen, and one now is, and one is yet to come, he shall remain a little while. Now, 1711. So we figured out that
Okay,
system
the
scenario.
woman sitting on the 7 mountains, that's Rome.
No, the woman is
I mean, not the
Jerusalem.
political. Yeah, you're right. That's the Jerusalem.
That's the harlot.
Jerusalem.
Yeah, that's Jerusalem.
This is the religion.
Yes, that would be like equivalent to the second beast.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now in 1711, and the wild beast, which was and is not, even he is the 8th. And is this, and then it says, is from out of the 7. So, okay, we've seen the 7 kings, emperors. So I looked into the 8th one. The 8th emperor. Okay, I didn't write this. And that's what I get for not writing down.
No, just a minute. Maybe. How about, oh no, that was.
It was after
Tertullian?
Galba. No, it's after Galba.
After Galba.
We didn't write it down. We didn't talk about it. But this guy, you guys will have to go into Wikipedia or whatever and look. The guy after Galba, he didn't reign very long. About a year, 69 AD. From January to December. He forced everyone to worship Nero. And he was as bad or worse than Nero. They killed him.
Yeah.
His own soldiers killed him.
Right.
Like he took them into a temple, like into a.
Tiberius Caesar.
I don't know. I don't remember his name.
Keep
So
going.
stop trying to figure. I don't remember his name, and I didn't write it down. But anyway, I read about him, and he forced everybody to go into this drama, this play, and he told them they had to stay there. People were having babies. Being delivered. He wouldn't let them leave.
That Herod or Caesar. We can't think of the name. He would perform musically and talk and do whatever he wanted to do, and nobody was allowed to leave this auditorium or wherever it was.
Yeah. And even the pregnant women had to deliver babies.
Couldn't even go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And so anyway, he forced everyone to worship Nero, the spirit of Nero. Nero was already dead.
Yeah.
So he's still part of so I'm thinking that this 8th, this beast, that's even the 8th one, is talking about him. And it says that the 8th is from out of the 7 and destruction, and goes unto destruction.
Period.
The Roman Empire became super unstable after Nero, just like and it did continue to grow, but it never really recovered. And within the next 40 years, it began to fall apart and diminish. It took several hundred years, up to I think it was 390 AD, somewhere around there, that the Roman Empire finally came to a total end. But it came to this climax after Nero. And we always know, if you read through the Tanakh, whoever Yahuwah uses to attack his own people because of their disobedience, he turns around and punishes them. And I think that was the whole point of this. It was the beginning of their end when they came against Israel, God's people. Even though they were in disobedience, it was their judgment to bring them to an end.
Right.
And there has never, ever since then been a one world government like that. The Roman Empire
Till now.
is now 54 countries.
Yeah.
54 countries. But see, they were all seen as Rome, all these
Yeah.
over the whole world.
Yeah, because Rome
We
had conquered all
still,
of them.
even if we have United Nations, we still don't have that. We still don't have
That's
that.
what they want.
That's what they're trying to get.
Yeah.
And that's what the Christianity thinks they're supposed to get. And, you know, we're supposed to have a one world government. Well, they already had one. People,
And the Pope even won.
well, the Pope, yeah, because the Pope, Rome, and you know what I was noticing?
Pope is evil.
Something really interesting. I sent, I don't think I sent this to Carol, but I sent it to, and you didn't get it, but on our group message, I sent us a Wikipedia, sent you guys a Wikipedia thing about the emperors. There's actually
Yeah.
a map on there.
I haven't
Did
seen
you
it.
see the map?
I haven't seen it
Okay,
yet.
it's a,
There's two other things besides the first one.
yeah, the map. The map it shows, it's like a interactive map, and it
Oh.
shows the growing of the Roman Empire and then the diminishing
Oh,
in the
cool.
years,
I'd
and
like to see
it
that.
shows the whole. It's all over Europe and like the Middle East and then parts of Egypt.
Oh,
And I was noticing that all those places are the places that Islam is trying to take over now. Every single one of them. And they say that the Pope and stuff is in bed with Islam, and you know, this is all a front.
They started.
What if
The Jesuits
they're
started.
trying to rebuild the Roman Empire and take back over, like, that's my land. That's, you know, that's
Yeah.
mine, and you get, you know, what if they're trying to take over the same places? I don't know.
What if?
I don't know. But I think they're trying to redo history, and I don't think that's Yah's plan. That's not his will.
Probably not.
So, but anyway,
Never mind, that'll come later.
okay. Okay. So now we have let's see.
Well, we were on 17. You know, we read through 13 and 12.
Okay, and then it says here in 17:12, and the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings, and the one not yet received a kingdom. And but received the authority of the kings for 1 hour with the wild beast. And I didn't research all that. Did that guy that you listened to, did he talk about that
I
stuff?
don't remember him.
Now, I really believe these are real kings and real kingdoms at that time. Which we knew that the 10 kingdoms, Rome was divided up into 10 sub-kingdoms. And if what I wanted to do, but I didn't get a time to do, I wanted to go back into Daniel. And Daniel talks about the vision of Nebuchadnezzar.
Right.
And I don't know if you guys studied any of this out in the past, but
I've read it, but I haven't studied it.
it was a statue, and it had, you know, like the head was a certain
Oh,
way,
yeah,
like
yeah,
ring,
yeah.
and then and
Right.
each
Yeah.
level was a different who reigned at that time,
Uh-huh.
Right.
The-
Persia,
yeah,
and
Babylon,
Medo-Persians,
Medo-Persia, Greek,
and-
Rome, and then
okay,
Augustus.
so you have it right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so the feet,
That's the 10 kingdoms.
yes, and okay, in futurism and what they've taught us is we haven't got the feet yet. We haven't got to the feet yet,
We have it?
but we have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They want to put the feet in the future,
That's
but you
what
can't do
futurism
that.
is teaching.
You can't do that because it's in succession, and there's a rock that comes and destroys the whole thing, and
Well,
the
that's
rock
Jesus.
is Yahusha. Yes,
Yeah.
he is the chief cornerstone, and his kingdom is built. But the feet with the 10 toes is the Roman Empire.
I believe so.
Yes, with the 10 kingdoms.
Yeah.
And Yahusha was born during those 10
Mhm.
reigning kings that represented the whole Roman Empire. And he brought it to its crumbling end.
Yeah, that was the 10 kingdoms was the Roman world,
Yeah,
like you said earlier, split into 10 kingdoms.
Yeah.
For Romans.
yeah, and
What
Judea
they
would
had
have been one
conquered.
of them because they had a king over them.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. But we'll get into chapter 17 again in the future. There's it's so amazing. If we would sit down and read all of Revelation all at once, we would see a theme.
Actually, he recommended that to his congregations. If you go this week, you read it from Revelation
cover.
right through, just right
All the
through.
way through. And you don't have no chapters. And
Yeah,
you're going to
just keep-
see something in a series over and over. He's talking about the same events in different ways in a cycle over and over. Over and over, over and over. Because remember, we went through the horsemen
Uh-huh.
when Nero, what was it? The 5 horses or the 7 horses? Or I can't remember. Remember way back?
Three, I
Remember we talked about the pale horse and the
But
red
Yeah, the
horse,
white
and
horse and the-
all
Yeah.
all those horses, and it was the same story.
Okay.
And then we're going through these seals, which is the scroll.
Right.
And that was Daniel's scroll that he couldn't open. Now John nobody was worthy to open it,
Right.
and Yahusha
Yahusha.
opens the scroll.
Right.
Okay, and the scroll is about the end, the
That's
time
the
of the
scroll
end.
that he told. Is this the scroll that he told John, I think, to eat?
Yeah.
And he said it'll be sweet, but your belly will get ache.
Well, that was, I think, a
Is that a
scroll
different
within
one?
the scroll,
Oh,
because
okay.
that was
That
talking
was the
about the
difference.
thunders.
Okay.
But yeah,
It was inside those. That's
Yeah,
the scroll
yeah,
that we're talking
because
about.
that has the 7 thunders. But I want you guys to really see, we're picking it apart piece by piece, but it is one big prophecy, all of it.
I believe that.
And it's about the fall of Jerusalem,
Mhm. Because
67 to 70 AD.
Because he was so wicked and they crucified our Lord.
It was the end of the Jewish people. It was the end
Yeah.
because they were sold into slavery. It was their divorce. They were
Israelites.
preserved for Yahusha until he came, because they were just as wicked as Ephraim, the
And
other
Ju-
10,
Judah,
and
okay.
Judah was just as wicked,
Right.
but he preserved them and didn't divorce them until Yahusha was born, because he came out of Judah. He came out of the line of David,
Mhm.
and then he divorced them. And then I believe this is their divorce. And the old covenant and the temple system was destroyed, and this was renewed. Okay, so we see this devil's. John is portraying the beast or the devil. All of this is like the devil. The Jews, or the apostate Jews, I should say, and the Roman system, both of those, because they were tied together. And so now he tells it several different ways. So you guys can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. Can you see that, honey?
Yeah.
He hasn't been in a lot of our studies, so.
No, yeah. This is your day off.
Daydreaming. I was daydreaming.
Yeah.
Day off.
So then we get into chapter 14, and this is exciting. Okay, so we have the beasts. We have the beast, which is the devil. And then we get chapter 14, and behold, I saw a lamb standing upon the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his name and the name of his father being written upon their foreheads. Now we see Yahusha coming on the scene.
His name is who?
That's Yahusha.
Yahusha.
I wish they'd capitalize
Okay,
it. So it'd be easier.
having
And the
having
name
the
of
name of
his father.
Yahuwah
Okay,
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah and Yahusha.
on their heads. The 144,000. Remember we talked
Yeah.
about them?
Yep.
Right.
They were the remnant of
Right.
Israel.
Right.
Yeah,
12,000 from each tribe.
the perfect amount. Perfect. And they are there. They're on the scene. And hallelujah, they're there.
So this would be in 70 AD
Yeah,
when the temple was torn down.
yeah, I'm thinking this is all about that timing. Okay. And I heard a sound from out of heaven as a sound of many waters, and the sound of a great thunder. And the sound which I heard was as harpists harping with their harps, and they sing a new ode to the throne and before the four living creatures and the elders, and no one is able to learn the ode except for the 144,000 being bought from the land. These are the ones not tainted with women. They are virgins.
Right.
These are the ones following the Lamb wherever he should go. These were bought by Yahusha from men as the first fruit to Yahuwah and to the Lamb, and in their mouth was not found a lie, for they were unblemished. And I saw another angel flying in the mid-heaven, having eternal good news to announce, good news for the ones being settled upon the land, and unto every nation and tribe and language and people, saying with a great voice, fear Yahuwah and give him glory. For the hour of his judgment came, and do obeisance to the one having made the heaven and the earth and the sea and springs of water. Are you excited?
I'm laughing at this word in Greek. I don't know if this is, I'm sure the man is right, but the word is opa,
Which one?
the hour, the word
Oh.
hour, opa. You know that when you go into the restaurants and they have a band and belly dancers and blah, everybody's yelling, opa! So I'm not sure what relationship that has to hour.
Oh, I don't know. And another angel, a second followed, saying, is fallen, Babylon the Great. Oh, here we have Babylon again. And remember back in chapter 11, he called the great city Egypt and Babylon.
Yeah.
And the great city was Jerusalem.
Great.
Okay, so here's Jerusalem is fallen. And who's on the scene? Yahusha. And remember in the very first chapter, he said he comes quickly.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And in the very last chapter.
In the
he
very
says-
last chapter, he said he comes quickly. Okay, so here we see Yahusha's there with the 144,000 and the fall of Jerusalem. And Yahusha himself said in Mark chapter 13, Matthew chapter 24, and Luke chapter 21, he said that he would be coming during this time.
He did.
Yes, he said, behold, I come on the clouds, and the cloud was judgment. So this is exciting. And this is the hour has come for his judgment. And so he's telling the whole world, because see now, not just Israel has this special covenant promise, but now the new covenant is for every tribe, every
Yeah,
tongue,
all
every
nations, all
nation.
tongues, yeah.
Hallelujah. That's what he's saying. Okay, listen up, guys. Listen up, whole cosmos.
The Pope can't keep it all in secret in his basement.
Hallelujah. And that just
Yeah,
totally
that's
excites
cool.
me. So to do obeisance, which means worship,
Right.
to the one having made the heaven and the earth and the sea and the springs of waters. And another angel, a second, followed, saying, is fallen, Babylon the Great, from out of the wine of the wrath of her harlotry, the harlot, she has given to drink all the nations. And another angel, a third, followed them, saying with a great voice, if anyone does obeisance to the wild beast and his image, and receives an imprint upon his forehead or upon his hand, even he shall drink from out of the wine of the rage of Yahuwah, giving mixed undiluted in the cup of his wrath. And he shall be tormented by fire and sulfur before the holy angels and before the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascends into the eons of eons. And they have not rest day or night, the ones doing obeisance to the wild beast and his image. And if anyone takes the imprint of his name, here is the endurance of the holy ones. Here are the ones keeping the commandments of Yahuwah and belief of Yahusha. And I heard a voice from out of heaven saying to me, write, blessed are the dead ones in dying in Yahuwah. From now on, the Spirit says yes, for they shall rest from their toils, and their works shall follow after them.
That's something I pray about all the time for certain people, especially the ones who do people dirty.
That what?
I pray that the Lord rewards them according to their works.
Oh.
I think that'll happen.
But I pray that Yahuwah will forgive them and bring
That's
healing.
that's a given.
Yeah.
You don't even have to say that.
Well, praying that they get rewarded according to their works says that they're under the old covenant and we're under the new, and they can't have access to.
No, that doesn't say that at all.
Yes, but see, if we're rewarded according to our works, we all deserve wickedness. We all deserve the pit, because our works are but filthy rags in His sight. I'm telling you, it's true.
You're saying
outside of Yahusha, we have no hope.
We can still pray that.
I don't want to pray a curse on any human
I don't
being
either.
ever.
That's not a curse.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
No, it is not.
You said.
Sorry.
You said you pray that.
It's up to him to reward them according to their works. That's all.
Okay, now I'm going to challenge you.
And that's what Paul said.
I wanted, but what timing was Paul was under? What if we pray that Yahuwah will transform them, and that He will show them who Messiah really is?
You can do that.
Because Paul, was he rewarded according to his works? Was he?
I don't know.
Because Paul killed a lot of
Paul
Christians.
was a murderer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
True.
he did not deserve life
Okay. Well,
either.
I'm sorry. I'm praying it anyway.
Well,
Just think about this. What you pray for others might be also
what comes
That's
upon
fine.
you.
That's
How you
fine.
judge
I
one,
totally
you judge
understand
the
that.
other. Yeah.
Anyway.
So I'm challenging us, because we've read the scriptures as if we're in that same time frame. And the New Testament was written before the fall, before Yahusha returned, before this chapter happened. It was written in that 50s, between the 50s and late 60s, the New Testament was written. And so much of what happened during that time, when we read it, we put ourselves in that time.
Yeah, of course.
And then we read it as if we're in that time. But we're after Revelation.
Mhm.
We are solidly in the new covenant.
Right. Yes.
And that's my point. And I know that listen up, tribes, every tribe, every tongue, every
Yeah.
language, that Yahusha came and he died for all men if they would receive him.
Mhm.
If they would but receive him and embrace him, they would be forgiven from even the most heinous crimes.
Right. They will.
All they have to do is walk in,
Mhm.
open up the door.
Well, by forgiving Saul, who became Paul, that shows you that the most heinous crimes through Yahusha can be forgiven.
Yeah. And that's why he was willing
He
to
died
be.
for all.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah. Yeah. So for us to say reward them according to their works, well, he can reward us according to our works too, and
That's
we
fine.
don't deserve. Well, we all deserve to go into the pit of
That's
hell
fine,
too.
yeah.
I don't want
That,
I don't want to be rewarded according to my works.
No.
no, of course, nobody does.
Well, you're saying that's fine.
Well, if he
fine.
wants to discipline me for something, fine, discipline me. I'll praise him
Well,
for it.
that's
okay?
why I'm speaking
But
this out.
I think we're talking about two different things, actually.
No. You said you prayed this all the time, and so I just
pray
want
it,
to.
yeah, because of the creeps that live around here. And
Well,
people have
What
come
if
into my
I'm
house and
challenging you?
stolen all kinds of stuff.
Why don't you forgive those who persecute you? I'm challenging you to step a little further.
I've tried.
Forgive
I've
those
tried.
who persecute you. Pray for those who despitefully use you. So what if you
Yeah,
pray
he's-
for
he's-
those you call creeps?
Okay.
What if you start praying Yahuwah to bless them? Pour out your spirit
Okay.
upon them.
Okay.
What if you did that? What if?
Okay. Yeah. What if? Okay.
I think
I
it
hear
would
ya.
change the bitterness inside your
I
heart.
hear you.
Okay? Because we so often want to just say, strike him dead, Yahoo. If we were God, we'd kill everybody. And then we'd be lonely because everybody does bad to us at some point. The heart of man is exceedingly wicked. Who can know it? It's wicked.
Yeah.
So, okay. I'm just excited. I love that. Well,
It's really awesome, especially the way you're presenting it with the Hebrew mindset. Because it makes much more sense to me.
Well, yeah,
When reading
because it
all this
wasn't
stuff.
written for us. It was written for.
well, we just seen it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
He's saying 42 months,
Yeah, right,
times and half a time, which he comes straight from Daniel, and which I haven't even gotten into, like Daniel 7, Daniel 12, and it was about the end of Daniel's people. Yahuwah said it would be the end of your people.
Yeah.
And Daniel 12, 6 and 7. But he's bringing all this into play. And even the description of the wild beast with the 7 heads and stuff, that came from Daniel too. Which we didn't read all that either. I mean, there's so much. I mean, there's Malachi and Zechariah, and so much scripture is intermixed with all of this. But it's amazing. But we see that like from chapter 11, he starts to measure the holy city, and he says that they're going to trample on it for 42 months. And then it goes into 1,260 days. We have the witnesses, and then we have the then in chapter 11 still we have the judgment, which is actually the great white throne judgment. It's right there in chapter 11 during the 42 months. Then we go back and we go into chapter 12, and he kind of rewinds backwards, and he talks about the Satan or the dragon, Okay, so I'm trying to like put all this together. He's talking about the dragon coming against Israel, Yah's people, and trying to destroy Yahusha. And that brings in Rome and Herod and all of that. And then we see the war in heaven, and that's Michael's representing Yahuwah fighting the devil, and you see all that battle. And then we see then he brings that whole spiritual realm back down into earth, but he turns the beast, Rome, and then Judaism, who's apostate Judaism. It's amazing. And then Yahusha shows up with the 144,000.
I know.
All in the same time.
Right.
That's wow. And we know this is one prophecy from cover to cover. One prophecy, not about we can't break it up and say, oh, this part's from the past and
Right.
this part's into the future, and
Right.
that
Yeah,
would
that's
make
what's-
multiple prophecies.
That's what's hard to, you have to keep realizing that when
Yeah.
you're reading this.
Well,
Or
we've
it's
had
just
too
easy
much
to-
ingrained in us.
Yeah, it's just easy to just shove it to the front.
Yeah.
The future.
Yeah, because we want to, oh, that's in our future.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. See,
This
that's the
was
thing.
all about the end of, from cover to cover. Genesis was about the beginning,
Uh-huh.
and we've seen the devil in Genesis.
Oh, yeah.
And this is about the end of Yahuwah's covenant people and him opening it up to all nations, all tribes, all tongues, all peoples.
Thank God.
That's what the new covenant is all about. And it's just, it's amazing. Just amazing. There's so much. I haven't even shared half of what I studied. Like, there's parables that Yahusha brought up. So many
Oh,
parables.
yeah.
Him talking about, he's talking to, he says he hires vine dressers to
Yeah.
tend his vineyard, and then they kept
Right.
killing everybody that came.
Yeah.
And they wanted it for themselves. And so he said, okay, I'll send my own son. And they kill him. So he says, out with you, I'll go find another people.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's,
Yeah.
and
And
that's the Gentiles.
yeah, and that's every tribe, tongue, and nation.
Yeah.
If they're willing to serve me, I'll take them out with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is just, it's mind-boggling.
All of his parables actually pointed to that, to the whole story.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole, of
Yeah, several of them.
destruction.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, now that we know, when we're reading it, it's like, oh my goodness, there it is again. There it is again. There it is.
Yeah.
Oh my,
Yeah,
he was
like,
talking about it all the way through.
the seeds and the one, and that's one of them. And then the woman, there's a couple of them. The one that,
Isn't there, was it the Samaritan woman that was asked? There was a woman asking for, she was asking for healing for her daughter, and then he was saying, well, I don't come for, or I
Right.
come for the Jews or whatever, I can't
Yeah.
remember. And she said, even the dogs
yeah.
eat from the table.
Yes.
And then he said, your faith has made your daughter's well this day. And then there was another one where, I can't remember. She said that she worships him on their mountain, and then the Jews worship in Jerusalem on the Mount Zion. And he says, I tell you the truth, now there's coming a day when you will neither worship me on your mountain or this mountain, but in spirit. You will
Right.
worship me in
Right.
spirit and in
That's awesome.
truth.
Yeah.
So it's not about a mountain. It's not about going to Jerusalem.
It's
It's
not
not
about
about-
a temple,
No,
a building.
a building. It's not about going on a spirit crusade and climbing the highest mountain to get a hold of
Right.
Yahuwah. No, we worship him in spirit and truth. I mean, it's all over. It's just crazy. And then all of Revelation is about the same thing. So it's just mind-boggling. And I didn't even get into my notes, guys. I didn't. There's like tons of scripture and
Is there any scripture particularly that we should be looking at
well,
besides what we're reading?
if you want confirmation about Rome being in cahoots
Oh, yeah.
with the Jews,
Uh-huh.
there's a whole bunch of verses in Acts.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got 4:24 to 28, 12, 1 to 3, 13, 6 to 11, 14, 5, 17, 5 to 8, 18, 12 to 13, 21, 11, 24, 1 to 9.
How about just the book of Acts?
The whole book, yeah. 25, 2 to 3. 25, all the whole chapter. 'Cause,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Plus.
I mean, it's all through there. It's,
Yeah.
And then I have Matthew 7, 22 to 23, where Yahusha foretells this happening.
Uh-huh.
Then I gave you guys John 19, 15 to 22. We read that,
Yeah.
where we have no king but Caesar. Let's see what else we talked about the harlot.
Yeah.
Oh, I have some Josephus. You guys can write this down.
I don't have Josephus. I'll let you
Okay.
guys read that.
So write this down. Josephus, Antiquities, 14, so book 14, chapter 10, verse 8, or paragraph 8, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
So Antiquities 14, 10, 8. In there it shows that the Jews had favor with Rome, and that's why they could worship freely while other religions couldn't. There's a reason why they could. And let's see, I thought I
Do you
had
have
another one.
Josephus?
I have, and then the other one is Josephus,
Uh-huh.
called Wars 2, 10, and 4. 2,
Okay.
10, 4.
Okay.
And then I have Daniel 11, 31, and 12, 11. That's where they were offering sacrifices to Caesar, and it stopped at 66 AD. And that led to the Jewish War.
Is that when they took those Dead Sea Scrolls and the group broke off and went and hid?
Well, there's a lot of
Seems.
controversy. The Jews think it was during Antiochus Epiphanes. That's the guy that I couldn't
Okay.
remember
Okay.
last time.
Yeah.
And that was 100 or 200 years prior to Yahusha.
Oh.
They think that it was then that they did that, but also there's other scholars that think it was at this time that they did this. But we know that during the time that Yahusha was alive, the real priests were not in there. So I'm thinking that they had fled earlier. They left the temple, and
Because they didn't want to defile themselves with having to do sacrifices to Herod.
well, yeah, that was
Yeah.
part of it. And Antiochus Epiphanes made them change their calendar, made them
Right.
change
Right.
all kinds of stuff, and
Yeah.
they had desecrated the temple. They didn't want any part of the temple. And yeah, they called the priests that were in charge of the temple the evil priests. So the wicked priests. So yeah, I don't know when they actually did that, but we do know that they were waiting for the Messiah to come, and they knew that their end was soon. Also, in the Dead Sea Scrolls.
I really think they thought it was, the believers might have believed that and thought that.
Well, in the
But I
Dead
don't
Sea
think anybody
Scrolls.
else did.
Well, the Dead Sea Scrolls shows that they were, and they called them an apocalyptic group,
Yeah.
which means
Yeah.
they were at the end. They
Right.
believed they were in the end,
Well.
end of, and so yeah, so they followed right along with this, and they were messianic.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, and they believed in the New Jerusalem, they believed in the New Covenant. I mean, there was a lot of stuff in the Dead Sea Scrolls that shows that. Oh, I think there were believers that were right along with that group. So, do you guys have any questions?
Are they still there?
Are you still there?
Yes,
Um,
we are. I just almost want you to start all over again so it'll all make more sense, because
I know, that's what I keep doing is going around and around, because I didn't even get through all of 14, but I wanted to give you guys a taste of what is happening. I mean, wow.
I mean, it's going to even make more sense when we start all over at Revelation 1. I mean, because
Yeah.
so much you're going to have to do this whole series over again where we all are more enlightened. You know what I mean?
I'm almost like, well, maybe at the end we can just sit down in one day and just read the whole book at once, all together. But yeah, because we kind of get lost in the middle of it.
Yeah, I don't know why today it made so much more sense. And I guess because once we've all been taught so much about and what he's going to do and all this, and it does put fear in you, because you're like, well, is that for today? And then when you realize when all this was written, why it was written, it makes a ton more sense.
Yeah, and their sheer hatred for Rome and their sheer hatred for the apostate Jews. It comes out really clear.
Yep.
They call them Yahusha called them serpents, and we know who your father is, the father, the devil. I mean, he said those things. And so it makes sense that now they're portraying the devil or the beast as the devil, and that's Rome and Jerusalem, and then the harlot. And pretty soon we're going to get into the bride and who the bride is, which we all know who she is. So I'm excited. Yeah, there's a lot to this. But I think we're all.
I think the best thing to do is just, when you get kind of overwhelmed, just stop, take a breath, and continue. I mean, because when you first started this, it was like, I don't understand all this. And now I'm sitting here next to John and I'm whispering to him, oh, I know what that is now. Okay, I know what this is now. And it's like he looks at me, he takes a sip of his coffee and he goes, okay. You know, I mean, it's starting to make sense, and it's kind of scary that it's starting to make sense, because it's totally renewing your mind, you know?
Yeah, it's totally different than what we've been taught in Sunday school and church. And I mean, all of it is totally different, but it's right here. It's in black and white, and it's all over the place, you know? And I come to the conclusion that either we believe what the Bible says or we don't.
Yeah.
And if the Bible, we have to, if that or, and even like this week we were talking, Marissa and I were talking about First Thessalonians and the resurrection, because that's supposed to happen at this time too. And at first I told her, well, we're just doing Revelation right now. We'll get into that rest later. But, we went back and we read it. And I sat there down and I read it. And sure enough, they believed it was all going to happen in their lifetime.
In other words, they talked about, was it in Josephus or some, even in the Bible, I think, when the temple went and was destroyed, there were people coming up out of the grave.
Well, yeah. Well, that happened when Yahusha rose from the grave.
Yeah, when Yahusha rose from the grave.
That's actually the first resurrection.
Yeah.
People rose from the grave then, and then there was and then I remember Josephus. We read about there being a great army in the sky, and he's saying if other people wouldn't have seen it, then they wouldn't believe what I saw, but Paul saw it. This great army.
So that just confirms that 70 AD is when he came back in the cloud to judge.
Yeah, and then it says, it's just amazing. It's amazing. We were reading in, if you go to First Thessalonians chapter 4, it says, starting in 4:13, says, but I don't want you to be ignorant, you to be brothers, concerning the ones having gone to sleep, that you fret not, as even the rest not having hope. So he's saying, don't fret about those that have already passed away before us. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose up, so also Yahuwah will bring with him, listen to that, will bring with him those having gone to sleep. When I read that, I was like, hey, wait a second. What? He's bringing them with him. Now, what did we just read in Revelation? Who did he bring with him? Who was with him? The 144,000. Did you guys catch this? I'm excited. And they're all turning to the right
I'm
place.
reading it.
Okay. So what does your version say?
Well,
In verse 14.
we believe that Jesus died and rose again, and so we believe that God will bring with Jesus those who have fallen asleep in him. According to the Lord's own word, we tell you that we who are still alive, who are left till the coming of the Lord, will certainly not precede those who have fallen asleep.
So, okay. He said that he would bring them with him. Not that they were going to come out of the grave physically, but they would come with him in the spirit realm. They're already with him. They were with him, and I had never read it that way before. When I read this, because later on it comes verse 17. Thereupon we the living, the ones living, and the ones remaining, together with them, shall be seized in clouds for meeting the Lord in the air. And thus at all times the Lord we shall be with. So then comfort one another with these words.
Okay, so that confuses me because we're not living in the clouds.
Yeah.
Is that it in the future?
So no. Listen, who was writing this? Who wrote this?
John.
Paul wrote Thessalonians.
Yeah.
When did he write Thessalonians?
I don't know.
Let's find out when he wrote
Yeah.
Thessalonians.
I don't have that
I think I
Bible
have
with me. My
I have
study
it
Bible
written
tells me-
down. I have it written down. We're gonna look.
That's one nice thing about this Bible.
Yeah, that's my study Bible.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it
Okay.
picked up.
I have written down First Thessalonians was written in 51 AD. Okay? So, and he's saying we. That includes Paul. Paul,
Oh.
and you, Thessalonians,
Uh-huh.
in 51 AD, we who are alive and remain shall be caught up together. And remember, you were talking, and you said this while we were not recording, about that one guy that was saying about being caught up in the spirit
Right.
is like the rapture,
Right.
or that's
Right.
what the rapture is, being caught up in the spirit.
Right.
Now listen to this again. Okay, in the Greek,
You're reading
verse
4:13, right?
4:17 now.
Oh, sorry.
Thereupon we, the living, the ones remaining, together with them who are with Yahusha, the ones who died and went preceding us, shall be seized. And that word seized, I looked at the word seized up.
Yeah.
It's like being taken by force. Being taken by force, seized in clouds. Okay, now remember back in the Old Testament where it talks about when they were in the presence of Yahuwah, it talks about the glory cloud and the cloud
Right.
being around.
Right.
It's the same word, the same symbolism, and being caught up in His presence for meeting Yahuwah in air.
Oh, wow.
Not necessarily being lifted up into the literal clouds,
But our spirit.
but our spirit is connecting with Him, and we'll know. So He's saying we'll know. Those of us who are alive and remain, we'll know when He's coming, and we'll be caught up with Him, and we'll be forever with Him in His presence. And it's just powerful. It's yeah, and they lived through this. And Paul, he was killed, but not all the Thessalonians that he wrote to. I think he was killed in 68. So he was killed during the Great Tribulation.
Now I'm confused.
Now you're confused?
Yeah, I'll have to read this and try and decipher this.
But what really caught me was it says, back up here in verse 14, I think. And if we believe that Jesus died and rose up, so also God will bring with Him those who have gone to sleep.
Yeah.
Will bring with Him. And we just read in Revelation that Yahusha is with the 144,000.
Okay.
That just that's so exciting. So I was taught that this all means is when He was physically resurrected, or all the people were going to physically come out of the grave. They're going to physically be come alive, come out of the grave, however that works. But then if we continue in the 5:1, it says, but concerning the times and the seasons, brothers, you do not need, I do not need to write about these things, for you know exactly that the day of Yahuwah is as a thief in the night, comes as a thief in the night. For whenever they shall say peace and safety, then sudden a ruin shall come upon them. Now remember what we said, the clouds, and coming in the clouds meant judgment. Now He's bringing sudden ruin will come upon them, as if the pangs of the one having in the womb, birth pains, Okay.
Yeah.
In no way should they flee from it. So they can't get away.
Yeah.
They can't get away from it no matter how they try. But you, brothers, are not in darkness, that the day shall overtake you as a thief. You're not in darkness. You'll know when it's here. You are the sons of the light and the sons of day. You are not of night, nor of darkness. Now, do you guys remember what Yahusha said to the men that captured him the day before he was crucified?
The day before?
Yeah, in the middle of the night, he's in the garden praying, and they have soldiers that come,
Yeah.
and he goes, "Of course you would come in the darkness of the night because you're a child of the darkness."
Oh.
Okay,
And when he said, "I am," or "I am Jesus,"
they fell. Yeah, and
can you imagine? They knew who he was.
yeah,
Those soldiers understood what he was saying,
yeah.
and they still
He said,
obeyed
"I am
the
he."
evil one. Yeah.
Yeah, and then remember in John 3, like John 3:16 to 3:19, he talks about the judgment. Those who are in the light and those who are in the darkness, they're judged already. They stand judged already.
Uh-huh.
And then he's talking about the light and the darkness here too.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's just a little addition note.
Cool.
And Marissa said, well, they thought it was going to happen in their lifetime too. And either we got to believe that it actually did happen in their
I
lifetime,
believe it did. Yeah.
or not. But if we don't believe it happened in their lifetime, that means Paul was wrong. That means Yahusha was wrong. That means the writers of the New Testament was wrong, and therefore it's not inspired truth. That's what they're telling us if we want to believe the future. If it's in our future.
I just don't understand how so many people who are so well schooled can't look at this and come up with the stuff that we're seeing. It's like, what?
They don't.
The darkness is just over us.
The brown brainwash.
Yahweh opens our eyes, and if he, I don't know, let's see, if he doesn't, it's the enemy's doing to cover up and to hide that from.
It's up to
But it's up to us
Yahuwah
to push out.
Yeah,
and
to expose it.
to
Yeah.
speak it. And to, to
Yeah.
Yeah.
keep it
And,
from-
but when you're okay, like your parents teach you one way, and that's the only way you've ever heard it,
Right.
and
It doesn't occur to you when you're younger to question things or to look
Yeah,
into things. Some
yeah.
kids are that smart, however.
so if you grow up learning this, and then you're gonna just turn around and teach the same thing you've been taught.
Right.
And you're taught a certain view when you look in the Bible. Like, let's say, okay, your walls are yellow, but if my mom taught me that is green,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I would
say,
always see
you
that
say
as green,
Yeah.
even though it's yellow.
Even,
You know? So if your pastor, you've always been taught a certain way, as you start reading the scriptures and they say, okay, this means this, and this means this, and this means this, you'll always see it that way.
Exactly.
Until somebody says it a little different and says, well, it sounds like it means this. And you go, what? It could mean something else?
See, that's the Lord opening your eyes and ears.
Yeah. Because I had no idea that the book of Revelation could be anything but future until about probably 8 months ago.
I know.
Someone sent me on Facebook, mentioned that Revelation could have been written in between 64 and 68 AD. And I was like, what? that makes so much sense. And I just automatically knew it was all about the book, all
Like,
about
tell them a piece about that.
AD 70.
Yeah,
I just knew.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's what it's about. That makes sense. You know, and then that's what started me on this whole journey.
Well, all I got is it's pretty awesome that the sister has us all in this little group and that our eyes are being opened. Whether I'll be smart enough to get anybody else to open their eyes, I pray I am. But it's nice to start understanding.
It's not up to you. It's up to God.
Yeah, I know.
He does.
He does, and he leads
can
them
drop
when
a
they're
pin,
ready.
But it's like Anya was telling me. I think she told you about the little girl at school. Didn't she?
No, there was a little girl at school this week that I'm teaching in Idaho history. I'm teaching Idaho state government and how the government is set up and all that. And well, you know, none of us want to have to study government stuff. So anyway, she said, why do we even have to learn this? And one of the other girls said, well, so when we grow up, we know what voting's about and stuff. And she said, and Jesus is going to come back. I don't need to worry about this.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I was like, oh my goodness. So I told her, I said, you don't know that. She goes, but the world's getting worse. And I said, but you don't know that. You don't know that. But see, she's been taught this.
Yeah.
And so what I did is I put a plug in her ear and I said, even the first century thought he was coming back in their lifetime. And that's all I said because it's all I could say.
Yeah.
And left it at that.
Yeah.
But maybe, just maybe, she'll eventually someday. But you know, that little girl,
Yeah.
her name's Shelby.
Shelby.
Yeah. But I just, it was a blessing, and to realize that that's, you know, that's where we came from. That's what we were taught.
Yeah, it is.
And she's just regurgitating what she was taught.
Yeah.
But see, it's still up to God to move them.
Yeah. To
No,
open our
that's true.
eyes. And
That's true.
because somebody told me years ago that Yahusha came back in AD 70, and I was like, you're full
Really?
of garbage. You're nuts. Yeah. And then I just threw it off.
How's he
That was
doing?
weird. It was a
Wow.
crazy thought. You know what? It's heresy.
Yeah.
And here we are.
And here we are. I'm back. I'm not going to go again. But you know, back when I was like, I don't know, we were dating, maybe 16. We went up to Idaho City. Some lady in one of the guest group, one of the gift shops.
Uh-huh.
She walked up to me and she goes, you know, Christmas and Easter is pagan.
She did.
Yeah, she walked away.
And just walked away.
Yeah.
That was your only contact with this person?
Yeah, and I was,
That is
and
wild.
I never ever forgot that.
It must
Ever.
have been around one of those times.
I was probably looking at some Christmas ornament
Yeah,
or some Easter egg or something.
Yeah. That's wild.
She said, "No, Christmas and Easter is pagan," and then she just walked away.
In North Idaho.
No, well, in Idaho City,
Oh.
in the tourist town.
Yeah.
Idaho City. Have you ever been there?
I don't. Where is it? Remind me.
It's in the middle of the forest up
It's going
north. So
Yeah, going toward
North.
I want to say Moscow, but no,
No,
further
no,
north.
you're going the wrong way. Boise, and you go up to like Idaho City. You can go on to Stanley
Oh,
and
okay.
around that way.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
21.
yeah, and
Low
it's like a ghost town, like a tourist.
I think there's a hot springs up there.
We know some people that live in the hills somewhere around there. We've contacted them.
Well, yeah. Well, we're still recording, so are we?
We're gonna
We
close.
come to an end
Yeah.
here. Yeah, it's 2:00. I think we got reached conclusion.
We got quite a bit in today.
Yeah.
Okay.
So who wants to pray?
Oh,
You'll pray. Okay.
Father, thank you for another great lesson and opening our eyes and our ears and our hearts to what your word means. That is very important for our knowledge and expansion of you, and just keep teaching us. And dear Lord, please be with Kevin as he comes home today and gets with his family, Marissa and the children, and bless Anya and Yeti and help them have a great week and another great study for next Saturday. Bless Carol and John and let them have a good week in you, Yahusha, and bless Nancy for everything that she does and letting us use her home and help heal her leg and bring her to health. And I just ask, be with Sherry. She's at a funeral today. Give her your joy and peace of mind. And I still, I don't know when North Korean leader will meet with President Trump, but when that happens, I just pray that your anointing falls upon President Trump and that he speaks with the Holy Spirit words of peace to the North Korean leader, so that we avoid any confrontation and promote peace in that area. I know there's a lot of North Koreans who are coming to know you, and I just pray those people that are being brave enough to take the electronic Bibles over to them and get the word to them and helping spread your word to them and the truth. And just bless Israel. Open the inhabitants of Israel, their eyes, ears, and hearts to knowing your truth, and that we don't need another temple. We just need Jesus in our lives and taking into our spirit and live with Jesus within us. And just have a great day, God. We love you. Amen.
Amen. Okay, I'm going to stop recording now.
Oh,
There.